Thank you very much, Cameron, and good afternoon, everyone. Look, 18 months ago when we came into government, farmer confidence was at an all-time low, driven not only by high inflation, which in turn creates high interest rates, but also by a multitude of green tape, from SNAs to over-the-top farm plans that apparently required some sort of understanding of the treaty to be able to write. On top of that, there were a number of freshwater regulations that basically sucked the fun out of farming, but more importantly made investments into future growth a no-go option. It wasn't just the producers of our food that were over-regulated. All through our food system, we had red tape that was constraining innovation and competition. The case of Ag and Hawk Chemicals is a good high-profile example of this, but there's also many others, such as the Waikato biltong maker that I visited a few months back. Now, he wanted to produce a lot more products than what he was doing, but the paperwork and the cost just to do a trial means that he sticks with only the 4 products he produces. In my role of Associate Environment Minister, I moved as quickly as possible to stop the previous government's direction to councils to identify and map new SNAs. Instead of a system that punishes farmers for looking after nature, I'm looking at how can the private sector reward them. Farm plans in the future will be a much slimmed-down version that just focuses on how to minimise contaminant loss from farms, and then also replace a whole bunch of consents to enable farmers to just get on with farming. In the freshwater space, ACT is pushing hard to ensure that we have sensible local limit setting based on local geology and science, not a one-size-fits-all spirituality from Wellington. With food safety, I have visited food businesses to hear the stories of their red tape nightmares firsthand. From the home-based small business to some of our most iconic brands, they all had a story to tell. I'm happy to tell you we'll be announcing a work program shortly dealing to the frustrations and the barriers that they face. So why should townies care about making life better for farmers or manufacturers or sellers of food? We are a trading nation. We pay our bills from our goods exports, and 80% of those are from the primary sector. When our farmers and growers have the confidence to invest in their businesses, the outcome is pretty simple. They spend more money locally, that investment drives productivity, meaning more exports. This means those businesses in the agri sector need to employ more people. This will drive wage growth. These people themselves may well invest in their own business, and so it goes on. The economic improvement spreads out from the farms to the cities. On the left, they'll scream and call this trickle-down economics. I just call it the law of supply and demand, a concept not much understood on the other side of the house. Now, you may not think that potentially you are one of the people who will benefit from this economic growth. I would argue that everyone will benefit. But regardless, let's just say that you don't. How does this all help you buy a block of butter? Well, our system effectively treats everyone as if they are Fonterra-sized and exporting. By making it easier for smaller producers to try different things, then you have the ability for more competition to emerge. We have a lot of well-intentioned rules in food safety, but quite frankly, some of them are duplicative and unneeded. They don't need to start from the premise that food and retailers and manufacturers, they all want their customers to have a food experience that's enjoyable and thus become repeat consumers. With less red tape and more competition, you reduce costs. It benefits the customer and directly impacts positively on the cost of living. Now, all that's just from my portfolios, but ACT is delivering across the board for rural New Zealand. The insane climate agenda of the previous lot would have driven food production offshore to places with laughable records on emissions, whilst crippling our exports and doing nothing to save the planet. So we secured commitments to keep ag out of the ETS and maintain the split gas approach, and review the science that currently treats cow burps the same way as coal burners. This all leaves the question, what will we do about the Paris Agreement that drives a lot of this nonsense? To which I say, watch this space. Thank you.